Okay, go.
All right. It is Friday, August 28th.
It must be time for a partner podcast.
And then right after this, it's time for a firm picnic.
Yay! Yeah.
It'd be interesting to get everybody, uh, see if we can do some team building,
Mm-hmm.
get everybody together.
And hopefully my volleyball team will be yours. Or no, am I
Yeah,
beating you in the pie eating contest? I
I think we're
forget.
doing the pie eating contest.
Yeah.
I've been practicing pie eating for 50 years just
Let's
because,
say I would practice every day. That'd be fun.
yeah. So it should be fun. Next
Yeah.
week, too, we are going to be sending out emails to our clients to remind them of their estimated tax payments that are coming up on September 15th.
Mm.
So this is just a little reminder to clients to look back at those instructions that those payments are due coming up here in the next couple of weeks.
So that's a federal payment, but not a California payment.
That's right.
Yes. So many moons ago, to balance the California budget, they front loaded the estimated taxes for one budget year, and now we're stuck with this forever.
That's right. So for federal purposes, your estimated tax payments are 1/4 each over each quarter. For California, it's 30% the first payment, 40% the second payment. So now you got 70% in by that June 30th date, and then the last 30% on the January 15th date.
Yep.
Yeah, they basically, in order to balance the budget on that June 30th fiscal year in California, they borrowed from the next year.
Yep.
To front load it, and
When
now
was that? That's
now
been like over 10 years, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's always confusing to clients. It's confusing to me. Yeah, that one's great.
Yeah. I saw,
go
go
for it.
ahead. I would say I saw, like I said, came across my desk today that the IRS approves temporary use of e-signature on certain forms. So, we've been able to get e-signatures for individual A879s, but there's lots of other forms now that they can e-sign for the IRS, such as the Form 31115 to change an accounting method,
Wow.
an 1120, looks like some 1120s and some other forms that they've temporarily allowed starting today.
That is an interesting thing. It's technically hasn't been allowed to do that for e-file authorizations for anybody other than individuals. But I mean, I know just from my involvement with other firms, lots of firms are doing this.
Yeah.
Because this isn't a form you submit. It's something you have in your files just in case. We, of course, have never once had the IRS ask for these things.
And they're actually allowing the digital signatures even for the copies that are being mailed. So through December 31st of 2020.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully they don't go back.
Yeah.
This feels like early 2000s technology that the IRS should have implemented a long time ago to make things easier for people.
Yeah.
I listened to a podcast, an AI CPA podcast this week that brought up an interesting impact that businesses may not be thinking about due to remote working, which is state and local tax issues. So if you have an employee that is working from home and let's say they are working from home in a different state, I think there's people who are, maybe moving back home temporarily with their folks or family, or there may be businesses that are near the border of other states. Now your business suddenly has a physical presence in another state. You've got a requirement to withhold payroll taxes, potentially file tax returns in other states. So there's some real potential issues if one of these things happens. Your business probably needs a business license in the city where that person is. You might have to apportion income and pay taxes to those other states. I guess there are they said there's 14 states that are exempting pandemic-related shelter-in-place issues from causing nexus.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Thankfully, there's 14 states, but that leaves quite a few that.
Yeah. I'm sure
haven't
California isn't one of them.
Yeah, and there is pending legislation that, based on AICPA lobbying to kind of address these new realities. But it is an interesting thing. I feel like, we talked about home office deduction for people who are sheltering in place. It just feels like every week there's this new issue that maybe you hadn't thought about, that comes up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So other than that, we had a fun thing happen at the firm. We had one of our staff had a baby. I think it was the end of last week.
Yeah.
It was super fun to see our family grow, through this employee. So it's really fun. So Billy Vetter. So
yeah,
congrats to Billy and Rachel.
Yeah, absolutely, a little baby.
All right. Anything else come across your desk this week? Anything else you want to discuss?
Not unless you want to talk about payroll taxes. So.
Yeah, we probably should. Yeah. I think we've discussed this before, but now we're Friday before September 1st. So the president issued an executive order saying that employees can defer the payment of their portion of Social Security tax, effectively increasing their take-home pay to help them through the pandemic.
Yeah.
But we have no guidance on how that money gets repaid, if an employer is required to not withhold, or if this is an election that the employee has to make and notify the employer so that they don't withhold. So there's tons of confusion on this issue out there.
Yeah, so we spent a lot of time on this, reaching out to payroll providers, other companies. How are you dealing with this? From PEOs to payroll processors, and everybody is just kind of waiting. I believe this was signed early August, around August 8th, I think, and everybody, we kind of pushed it aside a little bit, knowing, okay, we'll get guidance, then we'll really dig in. And we've been waiting and waiting, and everybody's been pushing to get this guidance of, how do we handle this? Essentially, it's paychecks paid September 1st through December 31st. So it's not time accrued. It's actually based upon the pay date. And we don't know how it's going to be repaid. Like, are the taxpayers or the employees going to have to double up their payment in January? And that could cause even more of a hardship if they're not prepared for that. And so still trying to figure out and haven't received any guidance on this.
Yeah. So I think it puts employers in a really tough position. There's talk about that deferred payroll tax would be forgiven.
Mm-hmm.
So what if an employer doesn't, what if an employer withholds that tax and the employee misses out on some of that forgiveness? So it's a really difficult position for employers to be in right now with no guidance on this.
And we're like 3 days away from having to implement something like this. And so I know a lot of the payroll processors have said, we're not going to deal with this till we have guidance. And so they're looking at Labor Day, which is, the 7th, before they even try to implement this.
Yeah. I talked with a bunch of other firms this week, and that seems to be the consensus. So we'll definitely be monitoring it and send out an email alert to our clients the minute there's some guidance on this.
Yep. Cool.
All right. You got your game face on for the pie eating contest?
That's right. Got well, it depends on what kind of pie it is, of course, too. So.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. We'll see you there.
Okay. Have a good weekend.
All right. You too.